Why can deaf people hear tinnitus? According to a shocking 2024 experiment where top German scientists used a new technology capable of identifying the origin of tinnitus, the root cause of tinnitus has nothing to do with age, genetics, damage from loud noises, or even your ears at all. Instead, tinnitus is actually triggered by a disturbing disease of the neurological wires that connect your ears to this tiny part of your brain that receives sound waves. And new studies from the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins University confirm that when left untreated, this condition leads to screeching tinnitus noises that do not stop even while you're asleep, hearing loss, but also irreversible damage to the area of your brain that forms and stores memories. And that's why experts now refer to tinnitus as Alzheimer's type 2. Because when the neurological wires that connect your ear and brain get damaged, not only your hearing gets weaker and weaker, while your ear ringing gets more intense, but your brain cells begin to disconnect. And brain disorders like dementia, Alzheimer's, or Parkinson's start to take over. In other words, tinnitus is literally damaging your brain networks, burning your brain cells, and physically wiping away your memories by the minute. But even though this is not easy to hear, know that there is hope, because these latest breakthroughs have led to a Nobel Prize-worthy discovery that is now leaving ENTs and neurologists around the world shocked. I'm talking about a completely new and natural tinnitus blocker solution discovered by scientists from Harvard and the University of Konstanz in Germany that instantly works to repair your damaged neurological wires, block any pulsating tinnitus noises in your ears, while erasing tinnitus and reclaiming your silence in just 12 seconds a day. And it works without having to rely on hearing aids, antibiotics, or medications, sounds therapy, acupuncture, or painful ear flushing. In fact, this 12-second tinnitus discovery is so new that your doctor has probably never heard about it before, even though it's literally backed by 117 medical studies. Now, when I saw this for the first time, I was very skeptical, but this 12-second tinnitus blocker is the only solution that allowed me to completely wipe away the agonizing tinnitus that was driving me insane, that almost destroyed the relationship with my wife and my beautiful 2-year-old daughter, and that almost forced me to end things once and for all. And even though that low spot in my life is embarrassing to mention, I feel it's my duty to share it, because in just 3 minutes and 14 seconds, you'll learn how yet another harrowing episode of tinnitus led to groundbreaking discoveries by a top German scientist, findings that were nearly lost to the world under highly suspicious circumstances, and that revealed all the details about the classified 12-second tinnitus blocker that helped him completely stop his ear ringing in less than 21 days, reverse the damage that tinnitus did to his brain, turn back the clock on his memory while lowering the risk of brain disease. I'll also show you the scientific evidence that proves how this 12-second tinnitus blocker can work for anyone, no matter if you're 35 or 85, if you had tinnitus for 2 weeks or 20 years, or if hearing problems or brain diseases run in your family. In fact, in a recent private research, this solution has already helped over 37,245 test subjects of all ages successfully stop their tinnitus for good. And after using this solution, I also shared it with a few of my longtime friends who, just like me, were also struggling with some hearing issues. Like my dear friend Dave from Texas, who said,
"I won't lie. Having suffered for years, my tinnitus was running my life. It took over every single part of it. Having a solution that finally works is a dream come true. I never thought I'd be able to get rid of that annoying buzz. I already bought tickets to the big country music festival that comes to town, and I'll be able to actually hear it this time."
Or even my cousin Susan from Florida. Florida, who said,
"Not long after developing tinnitus, I noticed my memory slipping. Little things here and there, in one ear and out the other. It became embarrassing. Slipping up at work because of that whooshing noise that never let up for a second. To say my life is different now is a huge understatement. I'm just so relieved that I gave this a chance."
And the stories of these folks could be your story. Just imagine reclaiming your silence and finally being able to hear your own thoughts again. No more headaches, dizziness, or anxiety. No longer having to struggle at work, trying to figure out what your colleagues are saying, or pretending you're focused while that ear ringing is driving you insane. Forget the sleepless nights when you were tossing and turning, praying for just a second of silence and fearing that the next day might be even worse. Finally, you'll be able to restore your social life, go out with your friends and family, carry on long conversations even in noisy places, and reclaim your tinnitus-free life for good. All you need is this natural 12-second tinnitus solution, and I'm now going to show you how you can use it to start silencing your tinnitus today. So let's not waste any time. Right now, you're about to watch a special video from Dr. Sebastian Spence. He's the world-renowned hearing specialist who discovered the 12-second tinnitus that has helped me and thousands of people completely stop ear ringing for good. So make sure to listen to every word he says. This guy saved my life, and his solution is so simple you can start using it today.
Hi, I'm Sebastian Spence. I'm an ENT, or ear, nose, and throat specialist, with almost 20 years of experience, and I'm about to reveal the most shocking story of the brain and ear health industry that Big Pharma has been desperately trying to hide for far too long. If you've been suffering from ringing in your ears, memory loss, lack of focus, mental fatigue, and even age-related brain decline, get ready to be shocked, while also having your prayers answered. They don't want you watching this, so please pay close attention, as this video could disappear at any moment. It all started 40 years ago, when the scientific community discovered that the ringing in your ears isn't exactly ringing in your ears. And recent studies from premier institutions, such as the National Institutes of Health, have fully established the one true cause of tinnitus. It's in the brain. And we've worked day in and day out to formulate a unique system to victoriously fight back against the neural breakdown that causes it. We also discovered a scientific breakthrough method to stop tinnitus and reverse hearing loss, poor memory, and mental fatigue. It's simply a precise combination of certain natural ingredients and compounds that supercharge the repair of deteriorated cells through a life-changing 5-stage 100% relief process. Scientists are calling this cell regeneration, but this newly discovered solution has the ability to repair the buzzing brain and stop your awful ringing dead in its tracks. The best news of all, it's 100% natural, easy to do, and cheaper than a daily cup of coffee. Anyone can do it from the comfort of their home, and the effects defeat common lab-made drugs that medical experts will insist on giving you. This is the one and only proven strategy that lets you break free from your ear problems naturally. As you'll see, this solution has also gone through meticulous trials and rigorous testing before its final version, and I'll show you how to replicate its results from the comfort of your home. So get ready, because I will show you how to stop that ringing in your ears or trouble with your hearing, and get your clear thinking back, just like I did in a matter of months. Now you're probably scratching your head, asking why a discovery of this magnitude isn't making headlines. Here's the thing. Information like this isn't supposed to go public without getting attacked by the big boys. I'm talking about the big bad drug companies, the scientific institutions, and their puppet physicians. Of course, Big Pharma will do everything in its power to hold back any discovery that will put a dent in its income streams. Those greedy corporations will do anything to prevent having less cash in their pockets. And unfortunately, that prevents countless Americans and civilians worldwide from ever finding long-term permanent cures. And that's just the ugly truth. As you can imagine, they've pulled every string to delay this astounding discovery from reaching the American people. But 50 million folks in the US alone are dealing with nonstop ringing, and you can bet a heck of a lot more are dealing with hearing complications. So I say, the hell with Big Pharma's pockets. Let me tell you, the solution has been proven to be so effective, it can work even for those who have had tinnitus all their lives, or even for those with severe hearing impairment. So I urge you to focus on this life-altering presentation, as I'm unsure how long we can keep it available. We need to get the message out fast, so that folks can start having a solution to save their health. Now let me tell you what else you'll find out in this presentation. First, I'll reveal the real source of that awful tinnitus sound, and how it leads people to lose their memory and hearing. Secondly, once you pinpoint the main cause of your hearing loss and tinnitus, you'll finally be able to reclaim your hearing, halt that maddening noise in your ears, and stop your hearing troubles. Even neurologists are in awe of how this one-of-a-kind solution takes care of the faulty wiring in your hearing system. Simply put, it nourishes your brain cells and ignites brain repair to keep your brain running at top gear and fighting off diseases. And you can bet this tested approach works wonders for everyone, whether you're a man or woman, 18 or 80 years old, or you've had hearing troubles for decades. And if you're feeling skeptical, trust me, I get it. I know what it's like to be driven mad with non-stop noise. As someone who used to have tinnitus, I want you to know it's not your fault. But from today onwards, you can say goodbye to hearing aids, risky medications filled with harmful chemicals, and painful ear washouts. Because I guarantee you'll get your life back, you'll feel normal again, and you'll experience a fresh kind of freedom. No more headaches, no more feeling sick, and no more feeling off balance. Just clear and peaceful sounds. So what do you say we put a halt to that nagging noise in your ears that never leaves you alone? And even more importantly, let's halt the decay of your brain. It's high time to break free from this nightmare. It's time to relish the peace of silence once more. It's time to fully take advantage of your sharp mind and reclaim your social life. So stick around until the end of this video to finally experience the peace you deserve and regain your hearing in just 20 days, just like these folks did.
I gotta say, living with tinnitus for so many years, it was like a monster eating my life bit by bit. Stumbling upon something that finally gives relief is like a prayer from God. I never thought I'd be able to shut off that nagging ringing. Thank you.
Not long after tinnitus started playing its wicked symphony, I felt my memory getting foggier. It was as if things just started going in one ear and right out the other. It was downright embarrassing. Here I was dealing with this non-stop bell tolling, and now my work started to take a hit. Saying my life's changed now doesn't even begin to describe it. I'm finally back to being myself again, and everyone around me agrees.
Living with tinnitus felt like having a pesky mosquito constantly bugging in my ears day in and day out. And finding a solution that finally dials down that incessant ringing, well, I never thought it was possible. But ever since I started using your solution, well, things started looking up. It's like the volume knob has been turned all the way down. I'm just so grateful I decided to take this leap of faith.
And there are plenty more success, dare I say miracle stories that I'll be sharing with you as you watch this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, my name is Sebastian Spence. I'm an ear, nose, and throat specialist, or ENT, with nearly 20 years of experience, although I came close to losing my entire career due to tinnitus. However, along with a team of professionals, doctors, and fellow health enthusiasts, I actually established a high-end laboratory where I can proudly say we've made significant breakthroughs that enhance the quality of life for lots of folks. But none of it holds a candle to what I'm about to share with you today. How we accomplished it is quite embarrassing, really. It all started on a laid-back Friday when I was hanging out with my daughter in our backyard, and all of a sudden, an awful noise hit me. At first, I thought it was maybe the wind in the trees, or the neighborhood kids playing nearby, but it wasn't. Looking back, I guess I probably scared her to death. I bent over, hands over my ears, moaning as the sounds increased.
Dad, are you okay? Dad, what's going on? Daddy!
But that was just the beginning. It kept going on, and no matter what I did, it wouldn't stop. Nothing got rid of it. And while all the normal sounds were turning down, this buzzing would not leave me alone. After 3 days, it was still there. I couldn't sleep or focus on anything. I had these terrible headaches and felt jittery, and anxiety was slowly but surely taking over me in my life. I asked my wife if she could hear the noise that was driving me nuts, but she just gave me this weird look.
Honey, I think you've just been working too much.
I figured maybe I had an ear infection or something like otitis. So I took some pills to help with any potential swelling and waited for it to hopefully get better. But after more than 2 weeks of this misery, I knew I couldn't keep going like this. I asked a colleague of mine to take a look. His name was Robert Simmons, and he took a good look at my ears and did some tests on my hearing. All the tests came out normal. I couldn't believe it. It felt like I was shooting in the dark, trying to figure out where this constant ringing was coming from, and it was driving me insane. He looked at me with sympathy in his face and his voice.
Maybe you're stressed. Try to relax, get some sleep. Our bodies can react in strange ways when they're tired.
I mean, it seems like stress is the universal culprit for everyone's sickness nowadays, isn't it? Anyway, he gave me a note for some stress relief tablets and advised me to take things easy. Well, that's not exactly easy to do when you have a very successful and busy ENT practice. But in all honesty, it felt as though he just wanted me to quit asking questions he didn't have the answers to. Questions that might just embarrass both of us. So I decided to consult a few other doctors instead. Doctors who I didn't know on a personal level. After several other tests and consultations, I pretty much got the same thing. No real answers, no real cause. Just take it easy, get some rest, you'll be fine. Eventually it'll go away. Blah, blah, blah. But I was given no length of time for this flippantly mentioned unknown number of days needed for rest. At this point, my secretary had rescheduled dozens of appointments, and I felt truly awful not being there for my patients. But what if this continued on, with no relief in sight? What was I supposed to tell them? Hello, I know that I'm the highly recommended ear, nose, and throat specialist that you've put your trust in, but I have no idea what's going on with my own hearing. No thanks. I mean, isn't it strange that with all our medical progress, we're still unable to figure out and halt these maddening noises in our ears? All they give you is a helpless shrug. The only thing I could do was pop those stress relief tablets Robert had prescribed and just hope for the best. Perhaps this is just something I've got to live with, I kept thinking. Slowly but surely, I could feel myself accepting this reality, that maybe I'd have to get used to this forever, or maybe, with God's miracle, it would somehow pass. But what happened next was just the opposite. In just a handful of weeks, I was plagued by 3 metallic sounds all at once. One was a continuous buzz, another was a hissing sound, and the third was a rhythmic clicking. There was also this unnerving feeling of blood rushing through my ears and veins. My senses were completely impaired. Once I even shouted at my 12-year-old, Cindy, to switch off her iPad. It just seemed so loud.
Dad, what is wrong with you? I'm wearing my AirPods. Jeez.
Or at least I think that's what she said. And to make matters even worse, I also realized my cognitive abilities were declining. Each day my memory got a bit worse. In fact, one day I completely forgot which patient I was seeing, right in the middle of the exam. And I'm embarrassed to say I almost prescribed her the wrong medication. That could have led to disastrous results for her, all because the noise just wouldn't stop. At this point, my colleagues were seriously concerned, along with my wife and daughter. The general consensus was that I needed to take some time off. While it destroyed me to step away from my patients, some of which I'd had for years, I realized I couldn't go on this way. Whatever was happening to me could lead to, well, I didn't even want to think of those worst case scenarios. Now, don't think that I wasn't trying to do something about this the whole time, or that I had thrown in the towel. I never gave up on getting my life back. Quite the opposite, in fact. I tried every remedy I could find, from teas to meditation to acupuncture to white noise therapy, and even antidepressants. I even tried bizarre, seemingly off-the-wall tricks like sticking garlic in my ears. And let me tell you, don't even try it. Absolutely nothing was working. I was riddled with stress and fear about what was happening to me. And I was starting to worry that my family and friends might start thinking I was losing it. On one particular day, the noise was louder than ever, and I couldn't bear it anymore. With all the frustration and stress built up inside of me, I couldn't help but throw a chair right through a window. Now look, I'm a normally calm and composed man, but that moment, I felt like a devil possessed me. The scariest part, turns out my daughter Cindy was sitting outside texting her friends, right on the other side of that window. Thank God she wasn't hurt in any way. But if she was just an inch closer to that window, shards of glass could have pierced her delicate skin. The chair I hurled with all my rage could have struck her as well. It could have been devastating. All I remember is hearing my daughter scream in utter fear. And despite my hearing problems, her terrified scream resonated through me. It was as if my heart caught the tremors of her fear. Right then, my wife rushed to our trembling daughter.
Sebastian, what the hell are you doing?
I dropped to my knees and tears just poured down my cheeks. I told my wife about the struggle I'd been dealing with, and I profusely apologized and hugged both of them. I could feel my daughter Cindy still trembling, and it broke my heart.
Daddy, what's happening to you? You're really scaring me.
Cindy pushed me away. My wife turned to me, her voice filled with a mix of concern and resolve.
Sebastian, you need to address this. I won't stand for another outburst like this in our home. We need to find a solution for all of our sakes.
She was 100% right. So I held her hand and said, I will, even if it's the last thing I do. Then, with a renewed sense of determination, I returned to my room and sat at my desk. I analyzed the choices I had, if there were any. As I was pondering what to do, I looked up to the heavens and asked God for guidance. In that moment of surrender, I felt something. A whisper of resolve coursed through me, subtle yet profound. It was like a little nudge to gamble on myself. Suddenly, I felt this urge to just go on a journey of exploration, of digging deep into research, seeking answers where others were not looking, experimenting, and looking into unconventional places. I had no idea where, what, or how, but with God's grace, I was off toward uncertainty. I fired up my computer and set out to investigate anything I could find on tinnitus. There were a few things I already knew. One was that the common sources of tinnitus didn't apply to me, such as long-term exposure to loud noises. My work environment was fairly quiet, and I resided on a serene, tree-lined suburb street. Nor did I ever listen to loud music or ever put on headphones. All other sources of tinnitus remained largely unknown. The only things available were band-aid solutions at best. I kept hitting dead end after dead end, searching for any clues or answers out there. It was incredibly frustrating. But as I was no longer seeing patients, I had plenty of time to keep looking. And that's exactly what I did, until I finally found something very interesting. It was a study from the University of Konstanz in Germany named Neurofeedback for Treating Tinnitus. This was nothing like I'd ever seen or heard of before, and so I was eager to learn more. Just the first 2 sentences alone piqued my interest up to level 10. Many individuals with tinnitus have abnormal oscillatory brain activity. Led by this finding, we have developed a way to normalize such pathological activity by neurofeedback techniques. Brain activity? What did my brain have to do with it? This was all happening inside my ears, or so I thought. I dove into the study even deeper, and boy, it was a heavy read. So I called up one of my buddies who's an expert in neurology, Dr. John Marconi. He was a college pal and a highly skilled neurologist who had grown up in the United Kingdom and then actually moved back after marrying a British woman. John had authored numerous local studies and books and conducted neurological research for more than 15 years. As I showed him the study I found, he too was fascinated. This study concluded that chronic tinnitus is not associated with the ears, but rather it's entirely connected to the brain. In other words, doctors had been directing their attention to the wrong place. It theorized that in reality, it's not a ringing contained within your ears. It's a constant ringing sweeping across your brain. He looked at me excitedly and explained.
When the part of your brain responsible for processing sound sustains damage, it abruptly loses its ability to interpret the sounds you hear correctly. Your brain actually scrambles the signals, leading to a consistent buzzing or ringing noise.
But then I asked,